It's that time. Day 6. What's it gonna be? Three. Study and research.
The moon hung ominously in the sky, its pale glow casting eerie shadows over the land. Within the moonlit bastion, a malevolent force stirred, a manifestation steeped in seething hatred. Its influence of malice extended. The wicked petrification of the natural world crept closer towards Genevieve's tavern, currently beacon of solace and mirth for you and your newfound allies. 6 days, just 6 days, remained before this vile entity would reach your tavern, forever condemning its patrons to an eternal hellish dream state. You, the journeyman, were keenly aware of the urgency of the situation. The weight of responsibility pressed upon your shoulders, for you knew better than anyone else the gravity of the impending doom. However, in the face of such unfathomable evil, you understood the importance of knowledge. To face this malevolence head-on, you had to know thy enemy intimately. Fortune favored you, for your allies shared your conviction and recognized the dire priority at hand. Determined to make the most of the remaining time, you and your fellow rogues resolved to dedicate yourselves to the pursuit of understanding. Sitting at a table, you and a handful of others put your heads down and brainstorm on the facts at hand. Let's find out who is joining you in the pursuit of knowledge.
I have 12 spots up in my 12. I'm re-rolling blanks. Every character has their own spot in an Excel sheet. I'm rolling a D12, re-rolling blanks. Here we go. 2. That's myself. We're re-rolling that. 6. Verdane the Veiled. 4. Artorias. I say we learn more about this enemy. This is our next enemy, the hatred-imbued living stone. I say having more time to do this is a blessing, and we should continue at it because we might just figure out more, develop more of a plan, the more information we have. We still don't know enough about it to my liking, so I'm voting for that.
Gather, my comrades, for I beseech your attention. Our shared enemy, the hatred-imbued living stone, looms before us, threatening our realm. Let us seize this fleeting respite to acquire knowledge, meticulously plan, and unveil our foes' weaknesses. United, we shall weave our insights like a tapestry of wisdom, illuminating the path to victory. With every resource at our disposal, we shall forge a plan that defies uncertainty. Together we shall triumph, armed with the power of understanding. I suggest we continue to focus on this matter.
All right, and what about Verdane? What is she interested in? We're going to roll a conversation roll for Verdane. Creepy plans. Moonlit bastion mystery. Infested tavern cellar. Hatred-imbued living stone. Maven vs. Rydak. Creepy plans. That could either be Maven vs. Rydak or Hatred-imbued living stone. But I'd imagine because of her knowledge about this thing, it's Hatred-imbued living stone, more likely. So we'll go with Hatred-imbued living stone. Let me roll. Let's roll for it. If it's not if it's not hatred imbued living stone, it's gonna be Maven versus Rydak. I'm interpreting it that she somehow knows something about that because she can sense the darkness in people's hearts. And that could be a disaster if that's going on while we're trying to figure this out. So it's looking like a 50-50, to be honest with you. 50-50. Yes. Anything below is a yes. The question is she talking about the hatred imbued living stone? 50-50. Anything under a 50 is a yes. Here we go. That's an exceptional yes. It's definitely about the hatred imbued living stone. For a second there, I thought Verdane had the scoop. But that's an idea. Maybe that's something that just happened, you know? Okay. Definitely the hatred imbued living stone. She's all about it. So much so that she has a hunch. So we'll keep that in mind. Verdane is feeling good about learning more about this, and she's enthused.
Verdane the Veiled folds her hands over one another on the table, her gaze steady and her words measured. She acknowledges the disquieting origins of the creature, born from the very essence of our own existence. Despite this unsettling connection, she aligns with your urgent call for a plan to dismantle our own creation. In this realm of eerie convergence, I stand beside you, journeyman, for the gravity of our situation compels us to face the consequences of our own creation. Though the origins may disturb, we cannot ignore the urgency that beseeches us. A plan, swift and resolute, must be forged to dismantle this twisted reflection of our existence. Her voice carries a sense of somber determination, an acknowledgement of the need to rectify the deeds that have given rise to such malevolence. As she speaks, her eyes, veiled in mystery, convey an unyielding resolve to confront the consequences of their own actions. The time for introspection has passed, my companion. We must embrace the responsibility that is ours to bear. Just then, Genevieve circles around the table, pouring ale into our mugs, and with the other hand, pours a smaller, elegant pitcher of a creamier brew into Verdane's cup.
And Artorias is kind of outvoted here, but let's just see what Artorias wants to, just out of curiosity, his motivations. We might be able to learn more of his motivations. What does he propose that we look into? Roll. Normal. Business. He's saying business as usual, what we're looking at currently. He's down. He wants to learn more, and he's going to do whatever he can to assist.
Artorias, beguiled by the unity of your cause and Verdane's resolute spirit, steps forth to join thy quest. With staunch conviction in his voice, he delivers a concise yet unwavering monologue. In this melding of purpose, I standeth beside thee, my noble allies. The urgency of our charge doth resonate deep within my soul. I do pledge my unwavering support to this cause, wielding my skills and valor in the face of our very own creation. With this declaration, Artorias solidifieth his commitment to learn more about their enemy.
All right, so the way we're going to do this, the way we're going to do the lore checks for these are, we're going to randomly roll one of our character's abilities, and then we're going to roll lore for that ability based off of the ability as closely as possible. The goal has been shifted from a skill check to literally building lore. I don't want anyone to fail at building lore on these brainstorm sessions, essentially is what it is. So with that said, of my 3 abilities, I'm going to roll a d3. I'm going to roll a d3 for each of us, and then use a respective ability for the lore check. Okay, here we go. For me, for the journeyman, I believe that is my first ability, my longsword ability, okay? longsword for me is what I'll be learning. Alright, what about Verdane? What is Verdane gonna be using? 2. Verdane is going to be using Shadow Walker. Using her long cape to shroud herself, Verdane can sink into the shadows and walk in darkness between some kind of shadowy subspace. Her ability to walk in amongst the shadows, and as it relates to the creature. Okay. And Artorias 2. And that is his guide ability. Interesting mix. Guide ability. And we're going to combine these all together. Longsword, Shadow Walk, and Guide into one idea. And we're going to get lore about that for this creature. And that's what we all learn together. Hopefully it's a helpful lore fact.
In a symphony of collective wisdom, you, Artorias, and Verdane the Veiled delve into the depths of knowledge, uncovering a revelation that unravels the enigma of the hatred-imbued living stone. Amidst its malevolent existence, a dormant weakness is exposed, rooted deep within its very essence. Verdane, her voice tinged with arcane understanding, reveals a striking analogy. Just as she submerges herself in the embrace of shadows, the hatred-imbued living stone, she explains, must have manifested itself by merging with the darkness that exists within our plane. Like a bridge forged between realms, the creature utilized the darkness of our hearts in the dream plane to establish its presence. Suddenly, a vivid recollection stirs within your mind, the imprisoned thug within the moonlit bastion. Verdane's eyes widen with realization as she declares that this individual is likely the conduit, the nexus that allows the creature to tether itself between their hearts, the dream plane, and the master plane. As this revelation crystallizes, Artorias interjects with a keen suggestion. If they can breach the layers of stone that encapsulate the manifestation, exposing the human within, a well-coordinated strike from the shadows could sever its bond to the master plane. The notion reverberates through the chamber, igniting a glimmer of hope within each of their hearts. This critical insight, like a sacred key to an unknown door, becomes the linchpin of their strategy, an advantage that empowers them to confront the hatred-imbued living stone, equipped with the means to strike at its very foundation. With a renewed sense of purpose and a strategy forged by this newfound knowledge, the journeyman Artorias and Verdane the Veiled stand united. They embark upon their perilous quest, their minds ablaze with the understanding of the creature's intimate connection to the imprisoned individual within the moonlit bastion. Together, they prepare to shatter the stony facade, expose the vulnerable human core, and sever the malevolent tether that binds the hatred-imbued living stone to the master plane. Armed with this new revelation, you and your party can breathe a little easier, your determination unwavering as you all face the looming threat with newfound insight of your enemy.